Who's my biggest threat? The number 1 car is quite fast, the Lambo, and the other 2 Audis are quite strong. So, you know, we'll be tight, but we'll see.
Anything else?
And will do an amazing job in Q2.
Let's say good luck, thanks.
In the background, you saw Christopher Mees trying to dislodge Will Stevens' hat, former Grand Prix racer Will Stevens, and enjoying being on British soil. Fans are ready, soaking up the sunshine, and this is going to be very busy indeed, because although the entry is 20 cars, around here there's still no margin for error, and traffic management, and we say it at every Blancpain race, John, is going to be crucial.
Well, and Brands Hatch is a difficult circuit to overtake on. These cars are physically large cars, so you get 2 of them side by side. There's not much more space on the track to ease and overtake, but it is still competitive. I mean, I don't know what we will end up, the 20 cars, what will be the time span that will cover them, but certainly in other Blancpain events, we've seen up to 20 cars covered by less than a second. I don't know whether that will be the case here. This is a much more, I would say, driver-orientated circuit. A driver can make a difference at Brands Hatch, whereas on some other circuits, the driver input is maybe slightly less than here, and it's really just simply about how quick is your car.
Now, it was Lamborghini that won the qualifying race at Zolder, Audi that won the main race after all sorts of penalties flew for mechanics in the pit lane, for driving people off the road, for picking up the cones in the pit road. One of the drivers that was in the wars was Simon Gachet. He was elbowed out wide by Dries Vanthoor, for which Dries got a second drive-through. Simon Gachet for Santalok will go first. In other words, he will do Q1 in this car that he shares with Christopher Hasse. Both the Santalok juniors, if you like, of Simon Gachet and Neil Stevenart being brought on by more experienced co-drivers. So Hasse and Marcus Winkelhock are going to be the ones to watch in their stint, but not necessarily the car over the entirety of the race. There's the Lexus, which is another car well worth keeping an eye to, number 14 of Albert Costa and Christian Kleen. The Lexus, of which there are 2, run by Emil Frey Racing. And Christian Kleen is going to go first, Albert Costa sitting alongside. And it's good that these cars are developing. They're becoming more of a factor race by race.
Yes, I mean, it is work in progress. They're working literally on the hoof. They come to an event and they learn more about the Lexus. They understand what the car's dynamics are, the strengths, obviously, and they'll be looking at areas where they can see improvement. So keep going, do the good work, guys, and you'll get there.
On the subject of these Lexus, let's find out about the project, because from Emil Frey Racing is Lorenz Frey, and he is with Dakota.
Lorenz, team principal this year. You're in a new car, Lexus. You've had a few, setup problems. Is it going well now?
Yeah, absolutely. We could improve after each session we did. During the sessions, for sure. Now, pre-practice 2 was already better. Now, hopefully, we could even improve a bit more for the qualifying. For us, a new track. For 2 of our drivers, a new track. And for sure, with this new car, still a lot to learn about. But I hope we still keep progressing.
Where would you think is a successful place to be in qualifying?
I think we should hopefully be in top 10. This track is really difficult to overtake during the race, so if we could finally stand in the top 10 would be great for us.
Let's see what your team got. Thank you.
2 chances, 2 cars, 2 of these new Lexus. The Jaguar project continues in the Endurance Cup, and there with the fast lane now open, WRT yet to put the wheels on. All the teams being fairly relaxed about this before they send the cars down to the end of the pit lane. We've got 2 of the Bentleys, of course, this weekend. 32 is the Ian Loggy Callum McLeod car, run by Stuart Parker's eponymous team, Team Parker Racing. And then you've got this car for Josh Cagill, former motorbike racer turned Volkswagen turned Audi racer turned GT racer, and Aaron Taylor-Smith, who's going to be the other driver of that car. And Aaron moving from the British Touring Car Championship into GT racing this season. Joshua Cagill is going to go first in this session.
I mean, it's a very relaxed pit lane.
It is, isn't it?
Well, the reason I think is very simple. Track conditions, you want to go out when they are at their best in your given session. Normally that will come at the end of a session. You're going to put on a set of brand new Pirelli tyres, depending how many of those you've managed to hold back from the running we've had so far today, and you want to keep some also for the 2 sprint races on Sunday. So you're going to go probably and do an out lap, maybe a couple of flying laps, bearing in mind as long as you get a clear first flying lap, that ought to be the best of the 2, and then come in and park it and hand it over to your teammate.
66 is the car from the Attempto Racing team of Stijn Schrothorst and Kelvin van der Linde, the Zolder main race winners. And have a walk up the pit lane. You can see the two WRT, or two of the WRT run cars. The third one, of course, is the Stuart Leonard Robin Frains car. There at Acker ASP is the Michael Meadows Raffaele Marciello car. Raffaele having been a winner in the Blancpain GT Series Asia a month ago. One at Sepang, and I'm looking to see if there's another car out of all of that, whether or not 35 has been put back together again. 88 is going to be started qualifying by Michael Meadows. He will do the first stint, first session. Nicolas Jamin will do the same for 87. And now the cars make their way down the fast lane. So who has been best on their toes? It is Christian Kleen, who is going to be the first one out onto the circuit. And therefore, Christian will have a clean view ahead of him.
Well, he will be, if you like, the stalking horse.
Yes.
Well, how you work horse into clean, I don't know. Clean horse. Anyway, go on, in effect, set a benchmark time. And that will be the time that everybody will then believe or understand the track is capable of delivering up.
Yeah.
And it will be when the session concludes in just under 20 minutes. That is ordinarily when the track is clear, but of course everybody knows that and everybody will sit and hang back possibly. Some might go out and do a run on a set of tyres they've run earlier in the day just to get a sighting of where the circuit is, because ambient and track temperature have changed. The wind has come up, so that you can cover by just giving a run or having a run on the best of the rest of the tyres you have available. Come in then, put on your fresh rubber, and that's going to be your shot for your good position for the first of the two sprint races on Sunday.
How many laps can you do, question one here, John, on a set of fresh tyres in these temperatures around here, and how many sets are you going to use per session? Are you going to have one shot, or would you come in and put a second set on in each session?
I would be very, very surprised if anybody chose to do that, because the new tyre is going to be more beneficial to you in the 2 1-hour sprint races. So if you've got a set of new rubber available, then hold it back rather than maybe squandering it in a qualifying session where you may not necessarily make up a great number of positions, but you have a chance, a better chance, to use those tyres come the 2 sprint races and roll the dice, go with your luck.
So we'll see how the teams tackle this as the cars go pouring out onto the circuit, and we are then in business. We had red flags in each of the free practice sessions. I mentioned the Alexander Cornet accident, and you saw the car a moment ago still being worked upon, but also Jack Manchester was off the road in FP2 over at Hawthorne, and the Mercedes brought out the red flag for that. So, first flying lap underway, one car yet to leave the pit lane, and Christian Kleen goes very, very deep into Druids there. The Emil Frey Lexus Racing entry then comes down towards Graham Hill Bend, and from that angle it just illustrates what a glorious circuit this is. You've got the trees, you've got the fat, beautifully manicured the circuit.
Yeah, but Christian Kleen completely missed the apex coming into Graham Hill Bend. Maybe he hasn't got the front tyre temperature up to their optimum working temperature range, so that's a little loss of time on this first flying lap for the Austrian in the Swiss, Japanese made, Italian overalls and whatever. So a dab of the brakes, something's right for Christian Kleen. I don't think he feels particularly comfortable at this point.
We were being told, weren't we, earlier on in the day, that they were still not happy with the setup of the car. I still think there's a bit more to it, but if it is set up and the balance isn't there, that might be why he was just checking the pace a little, but he's going to offer up the target time. Green on the graphic, remember, means a personal best in the sector. Purple means an absolute best, but it's all academic on your opening lap because, of course, you will be quick. Nothing else to gauge it against.
There's the view, clearways into Clark Curve, and then there's the run on a cambered straight, which also was a sort of a very gentle bend all the way through. So it goes quickest on a 1 minute 26.4, which people probably say, well, that's for an opening lap. It didn't look to me to be an outstanding opening lap, but he's got a time and he can work forward from that. He's now just been eclipsed by the 66 Audi of Shorthorse. So already 1.2 seconds down on what is now the fastest time.
Did a 25.2 in FP2, so faster. There's number 2 Audi, which is Dries Vanthoor. Now he has done the absolute best in the first sector. Stijn Schrothorst goes quickest from Norbert Siedler in the second Lexus, from Nico Bastian's Mercedes. Christian Kleen then is elbowed back to fourth. But Vanthoor here is stacking them all up. Look, purple sector 1, purple sector 2, absolute bests in other words, and this should be provisional pole position. I know it's early days, but let's see what he can do. It should be in the 24s if he's going really nicely, and it is a 1:24.800 fastest by 0.4 of a second. That was a good lap.
Good lap. Not quite as quick as we saw from the 2 practice sessions earlier today, but a good opening lap, bearing in mind that everybody's been sitting back and enjoying the weather, enjoying the sun, and having something to eat. And then you strap your helmet on, and then you just literally push the go button.
So Christian Klein hustles on as Ezequiel Perez Compank has just gone second. So Christian Klein is 7th. Can he respond as he comes across the timing line? He will go up to 4th fastest on a 1:25.268.
So that's an improvement.
Yeah.
So back to the Jack Manchester and the Mercedes.
That car, but Nico Bastian.
Nico Bastian.
Q1, yeah.
This car was in the gravel towards the end of practice 2. So personal best, as you would expect on his first flying lap. Comes across the line, looks like a good run. 24.5.
Goes fastest.
Actually, not a good run, an outstanding run. Takes that provisional pole.
As Vanthoor is 2nd, Christian Engelhardt goes 3rd. There, look, going through paddock in the green and orange this year. Lamborghini winners here last year. So Christian Engelhardt does a 1:24.933. Now, where does the magic second take us to? The top 8, all covered by just over 7/10.
But watch number 2. Dries Vanthoor, fastest overall 1st and 2nd sectors. As Christian Engelhardt clambers over that 24.2 for Dries Vanthoor, 0.3 of a second ahead now of the 90 Mercedes.
So Dries Vanthoor goes fastest by 0.333 of a second. It's Audi, Mercedes. Michael Meadows is 3rd. 4th is this Lamborghini of Christian Engelhardt. No, it's not, because 3rd is Peter Schothorst, number 55 at Temto Audi, the Schothorst brothers you've got in the race this year. And he's done a 24.7. Ezequiel Perez Compank is now 4th. Michael Meadows is 5th. 6th is Engelhardt. So it's changing all the time, as you would expect. 7 minutes just about gone. We've got 17 times from 18 cars. So there is another, in addition to the Mercedes, that's not ventured out yet.
So in 2, Sterling's Bend runs the curve, comes off it cleanly, no problems whatsoever for Christian Engelhardt in the number 63 Lamborghini. Currently 6th quickest, 1:24.9. Personal best, 1st and 2nd sector, has a chance to improve. 2nd place, well, that'll bring a smile to the face of the 63 Lamborghini crew. They've not really shown that level of pace so far, but of course they were doing it in sessions where it was just simply practice.
The other car that's not gone out is the BMW of Andrew Watson and Lucas Moraes that we saw in grief at the end of FP2, and what looked like a fairly harmless spin, presumably had rather more serious consequences. So the BMW is missing.
We got a message on screen saying that there had been contact with the barrier. We never saw that. We just saw the car parallel to the barrier, but we never saw the contact. So maybe something was more seriously damaged than we anticipated.
So we'll see if we can get to the bottom of what damage has been done. The Mercedes still being worked on. They were hoping to be out for the second part of qualifying, as Dries Vanthoor then is the fastest. Is there anybody else that's about to go quicker? Let's see. As coming up over the timing line there is the 82 Loris Hazeman's Lamborghini, and that did a 1:25.713. So actually the lap time was better, but it stays 13th. Engelhardt's up to 2nd, and Nicolas Jamin is up to 4th. Nicolas Jamin, the French-American driver, then 4th fastest. There he is. This is the ASP Mercedes 87. And this will be a competitive car shared with Felix Arales, the Puerto Rican.
Yes, and Mercedes at the current time are occupying row 2 with the 90 Mercedes and the 87. So not a lot of space to get around those 2 cars, and that is where they end up finally after this qualifying session, which will end in just under 12 minutes.
So Jamin over the line, and that's a 25.1, so 4/10s down, a slower lap, a sort of respite lap. So Josh Cagle, we've got penultimate. The slowest is Neil Stevenard, but I'm still a bit perplexed as to what's going on for number 1 Audi, because Alex Riveras is in the pit lane. He's done 3 laps. He's on a 26.9. He's a long way off the pace, and that car, Alex Riveras and Christopher Meese, the 2 drivers, is either going to do something really stunning at the end of the session or is in trouble.
One would assume, being car number 1, that maybe they're just holding back. They're not going to put on their brand new rubber until everybody has really completed their first qualifying session runs, and therefore the track might be clearer. Also, going back to what I was saying, the track will always improve over any session. So the end of a session, other than if somebody throws a load of gravel and muck and whatever onto the circuit, the track will get quicker as the session progresses.
Number 1 Audi has, for the most part, been sitting on the pit apron. Only if it goes into its pit box do you assume it has a problem. So I'm kind of thinking it's all part of the plan. As you look at Piti Bieronbakti's Ferrari, 14th it is, heading Pro-Am. There's, of course, the overall, there's Pro-Am and there's the Silver Cup this year. The best of the silvers is Nico Bastian, who is 3rd fastest.
Piti Bieronbakti had a lurid spin just coming up to this part of the track in second practice. Got too wide in the exit, caught the grass, spun literally right across the front of oncoming cars. There's Vincent Voss. Well, I would say he's looking marginally agitated. He's not happy with something. The number 2 car currently quickest overall, Dries van Thor, by almost 4/10 of a second, but the number 1 car down in 16th position, and literally as the session continues is dropping down as others behind find pace and get ahead.
Out goes Josh Cahill once more, who is the slowest, so he wants to try and find some time. There is Vincent Voss, the man behind WRT, or one of the men behind it, talking to Will Stevens. But yes, if number 1 is going to do something, they probably need another set of tyres on that car. There's 17 of Stuart Leonard. Now that's only 12th. So although number 2 is up there, the other WRT Audis are nowhere near where Vincent Voss wants them to be.
And Stuart Leonard, home circuit, a driver who really has come on leaps and bounds over the last couple of seasons, gaining confidence with the results, where confidence will flow, but just becoming a more confident partner than just simply a talented amateur or whomever or however you have chosen to refer to him as.
So we first saw Stuart in the championship in the Endurance Cup with an Aston Martin. One of his co-drivers, of course, is Michael Meadows, who he now has to go toe-to-toe with. And the late Paul Wilson, the 3rd driver, class winners at Silverstone. But it's as a WRT driver, he's had great success winning the Sepang 12 hours, the Bathurst 12 hours, the Sprint Cup last year, and turning his way now out of Sheen Curve up towards Stirlings, which is where earlier on in the day we lost Alexander Cornet's Mercedes riding the curve and being spat across the road, similar to an accident we had here 12 months ago. 8.5 minutes are on the clock. So if you can do anything, now is the time to get out there and get on with it.
Well, the number 1 Audi is still sitting on the pit. I mean, it's up on its air jacks. Only 2 people are allowed to work in the car. So tyres are being brought out. As I see, the left rear has been fitted to the car. So with just 8 minutes in round figures left, that will be plenty of time to go out, do an out lap. Certainly 2 strong flying laps. And then you'll be coming close to maybe getting one final lap. Just depends how quickly they can get the car down off the jacks. And it looks pretty much as if the wheels are now being bolted, locked up with those pneumatics. The car is getting ready.
So now Riveras, on the back of his Endurance Cup win at Monza, has got to deliver here. He's hardly done many miles around Brands Hatch, in fairness, because when he used to come to the UK as a Porsche driver, it was for the Silverstone Super Cup race. So Brands Hatch is still a sort of development exercise, still learning about the place. Also on a mission here is Christian Engelhardt, jinking around to get the tyres up to temperature, and the pressure's up as well. And this is the car that's 2nd that wants to be on pole.
So this is not the final opportunity, but certainly there won't be many more, I would assume, after this. Gottfried Grasser studying concentration, you can see. So down through Panica Bend, the compression rides the curve, comes off it cleanly, stays to the left, down through gears, just gets it in, keeps tight all the way around, which is probably the best way. Hits the limiter on the exit through it, then back down in Graham Hill Bend, cleanly taken, doesn't abuse the run off on the outside. Traffic ahead, he needs to get his way around that. Interesting, he tends to be one of those school of thinking that you come in early for certies, as opposed to others who think you take a much later cut, a more acute cut, then onto the quickest part of the racetrack. Pilgrim's drop, we've got the rise and the drop, then into Hawthorne's, probably the quickest corner on the circuit, and then before you know it, back on the brakes and the bumps of Westfield and the whole car. You can see the circuit actually has been recovered, resurfaced in certain places, but the bumps are fundamentally there. Up at the Sheen Curve, makes the apex, let the car run out to the edge of the racetrack, back to the right, down 2 more gears, get the nose in. You're really going to get that curve on the inside right where your wheel should be, and then a clean exit. So whether this is going to be good enough for Christian Engelhardt, we will know very shortly. Nothing showing that is any better.
He's down in the sectors, but maybe this next lap is the one. Michael Meadows has gone second, and Nico Bastian has gone third. That lap from Engelhardt was a 27.2, so a fair way off what he was doing earlier, but that's the car to watch now. Michael Meadows, second fastest, and doing a personal best in Sector 1.
Yeah, but he's backed out of it because there's no way he's going to find a way past the Audi, which on its, well, maybe it's certainly on a flying lap. Currently that car is done in 10th place. So Michael Meadows will want to get past at the earliest opportunity. We go back to the number 14 Lexus. Christian Klein, that car just outside the top 10 in 11th position.
Which is good in a sense, because we were a bit concerned about the Lexuses earlier on. Andrew Watson's BMW is a late arrival at the ball, but has gone up to 13 fastest. Whether that was tyre saving, hard to tell, but suddenly showing far better pace than we saw in FP1 or 2.
Well, we never saw any pace at all from the 37 BMW, and now Andrew Watson, when it comes to crunch time qualifying, has managed to get the car, well, it's on the 7th row of the grid. Would like to be much higher, but better than being on the 8th, 9th or 10th row. Personal best.
Yeah, Dries Van Tor has just done an absolute best in the first sector. Engelhardt's done 2 personal bests, so let's get him across the line first of all. Christian Klein's up to 5th, Stein Schotthorst up to 2nd, and Engelhardt goes 4th, 1:24.378. But Dries Van Tor then has done the absolute best in Sector 1. There he is, coming out of Stirling's. 2 absolute bests now, Sector 1 and Sector 2. And the shortest sector coming up, so really it's a straight and a long right-hander up towards the timing line. Here he is, Dries Van Tor out of Clark Curve. The time to beat is his own anyway, 1:24.138. Can he go quicker still? There's a car off in the background. Let's get Van Tor over the line. It's 23.9, best of the day, 1:23.931. It was a Lamborghini that was off into the gravel, and it was the car of Ezequiel Perez Companc. It got out of the gravel and continued, but it was Companc into the gravel bed.
Here's the second Audi, the number 1. Currently that car, 10th position, second flying lap on the fresh set of rubber, personal best, first and second sector. Traffic ahead, that's going to be well, it's always a frustration. You go for an entire lap, no traffic, then you catch somebody at the critical point of the final corner on the pit straight.
So 10th for Alex Riber as he was delayed in the last sector. It was 2 personal bests. Now, Stein Schotthorst, absolute best middle, personal best first sector.
Impressive, very impressive. This could be a challenge to Dries Van Tor, his 1:23.9. Certainly it's enough, going to, in my view, put him up into the front row of the grid, but he's on the front row of the grid presently. Consolidates that position by improving, now just 1/10 of a second behind the young Belgian driver.
Lost out in the last sector, as we look now at Dries Van Tor, who's lost out in the middle sector, so absolute best and then a little bit down. He's lost 3/10 in the middle sector. I'm not convinced he's going to be able to pull back 3/10 here. Coming through Clark Curve, road drops away on the power all the way through this long, long right, power past the pits. He's only got to beat his own lap time of the 23.9. It's not going to happen this time, surely. No, it's the 24, so it's slower.
Still a good effort.
Yep.
Losing 3/10 in the middle sector, he clawed some of that time back.
There's Stuart Leonard, who improved last time. 7th, and has gone quicker in Sector 1 on this lap. 2 more minutes to go, so there's only really 2 more laps of the session, isn't it, at most?
Yeah, a good effort. Norbert Siedler, 1:14. The Lexus up to 8th place, and that's a place that is all about pace. Norbert Siedler done a good job for the Lexus team.
Yeah, he's 8th, Christian Klein 10th, Siedler at 24.5, Klein at 24.6, only a 10th between them, evenly matched cars and drivers. We've got then Stuart Leonard coming into Clark Curve, and there, slowly I would say, into Westfield, relatively speaking, is 55, although actually the first sector was a personal best from Peter Schotthorst, but it doesn't look that quick coming up to Sheen Curve.
No, it doesn't. I mean, he's cruising. You'd hear, I mean, in relative terms, he's cruising. He's not on a flying lap, so we catch traffic now all the way through Hawthorns into Westfield.
There's 87, Nicolas Jamin, who is 9th fastest, improved last time 24.6. Into Sterling's he will get one more lap out of the session. Others behind him may not be quite so fortunate. And 35, the battered Mercedes from earlier, is on the track. And for the first time today, it is Vladimir Atuev behind the wheel of it. He got no running at all. He's been thrown into it to go and do a time, and he will get probably 2 flying laps. He's just done 1 and he's on a 2nd.
Well, great effort by the team to get that car turned around. There was a lot of damage to the right front and the right rear. Bodywork was trashed.
There it is.
So there it is.
Good as new.
Well, you know, it's a great turnkey race car.
So he's going to do this lap. He'll get 1 more out of it. Across the line goes Atuev. That's a 29.1. All right, he's a long way off the pace, but these are the first laps he's done all day, and so to suddenly have to get into a repaired car and deliver, that's a pressure point of the day. 15 seconds to go.
It's a fairly big ask.
Yes.
But the point is, get into the car. Look at Christopher Mies. Get into the car, get a time, come back, give us the feedback, then we can go forward from there.
So there is Ezequiel Perez Companc, who was in the gravel earlier. 12 he is, flag out, checkered flag is there. So Q1 comes to an end, this 20-minute period. As down through the drop from Westfield, up Dinglesdale, and off the road again goes Companc, and he's a long, long way off now.
He was afraid to turn the steering wheel coming into Sheen Curve, and the car just ran wide, got onto the dirty bit of the racetrack, through the gravel. The flag is out, so anybody who might be following will have to deal with a load of gravel being deposited onto the racetrack. And there is the 35, the car that was heavily in the wall, literally on the exit here of Stirling's Bend. The marks, I think, well, they're just about been rubbed out, but heavy black marks were left as it swung sharp to the left and heavy impact on the barrier.
So to the checkered flag comes Atuev to see whether or not he can go from 20th to 19th and get ahead of Neil Stevenart. Again, personal best. The lap time is a 27.869. He's 9/10ths away from being penultimate rather than last. But well done, Acker ASP, for getting the car out there. A couple under investigation. One of them is this Mercedes of Nico Bastian and Jack Manchester. That's the Acker ASP team car. And 66 also is being investigated. Stein Schrothorst and Kelvin van der Linde. Pit stops to be investigated after Q2. Now that might be for parking, it might be for the number of people working on a car.
Sometimes it's very easy when a car is in the pit lane that more than 2 people are involved in whatever the changes that are required, or it could be something else.
Well, it's going to be investigated after Q2, so they're standalone sessions, but the story may not be done. Let's do Q1 first of all then. It is Dries van Thor who is the fastest by 0.139 of a second from Stein Schrothorst and Michael Meadows third. Alex Ribarras up to 4th right at the very end from Christian Engelhardt. Then Peter Schrothorst 6th, Nico Bastian 7th from Stuart Leonard and Norbert Siedler, Nicolas Jamin 10th from Christian Klein, and 12th is, before he went into the gravel, Ezequiel Perez Companc. Late out, but 13th the BMW of Andrew Watson, looking as though things have improved. 14th quickest, Simon Gachet, ahead of Loris Hezemans and then Josh Cagill. Piti Bieron-Bahti 17th from Ian Loggy, Neil Stevenart 19th, and having his first track time of the day, Vladimir Atuev goes 20th, ending up just 9/10ths away from the traffic ahead. So Dries van Thor is the fastest then by 0.139 of a second. It's provisional pole for the Belgian. He's with Dakota.
Dries, now you're currently fastest. Absolutely fantastic job. I saw you over there giving Will some advice. Can you tell me what you were saying?
Just some gears that he has to try, nothing special. It was not an easy session because I had no radio, so it was really difficult to connect, to talk to the team, where I was, what was the pace, if somebody was improving, I don't know. So it was really, really annoying. But at the end, yeah, we are on P1 for race 1, so that's really good. A big congrats to the team for this qualifying session, but there is still one more coming up. So the car is feeling good. So let's see where we can end up with Q2.
Do you think the radio is going to be fixed for Will?
I don't think so, but it's really annoying, and I hope they fix it, but it's really annoying when you have no radio.
Well, I'm sure we'll be fine. Thank you. Good luck.
So Dries van Thor has a radio problem, but it didn't affect his pace, with that being 0.139 of a second quicker than anybody else. So let's have a look at the highlights then of Q1. It was a lively 20 minutes and has given us the first look at the car's proper pace of the day. Team's ready pre-session, ready to get everybody out there and the battle then between Audi, Mercedes and Lamborghini for the top slots on the grid. Lexus first out, Christian Klein, who would go on to be 11th fastest. Bentley, Audi pouring out on track, and Klein had the road to himself early on. It wasn't long though before he had to think about the traffic as people stopped and cycled through pit stops and were out of position. Dries van Toor, however, was very quick indeed, and it was soon number 2 Audi making its way up the order. Pit stop, fresh boots, back out again. Also pressing on was Stuart Leonard in number 17 Audi, and that car ending up a little further back down the times than required. Alex Riveras then had one last roll of the dice and got up to 4th fastest in the number 1 Audi. The Lamborghinis were trying hard. Christian Engelhardt pushing as he tried to bring 63 Lamborghini into the mix. Ezequiel Perez compact ran wide coming out of Clark Curve. 2 wheels became 3, very nearly 4 into the gravel. He rallycrossed his way back onto the pit straight and then had another moment right at the very end of the session. Looking good was number 66 Audi, Stone Schockhorst, but right on his last lap, Ezequiel Perez compact had this drama going through Sheen Curve and bringing more gravel back to the Grasser Racing team. Dries van Toor, however, despite the fact the radio wasn't working, looking oh so strong, and he takes provisional pole at the end of Q1. So WRT, John getting 2 cars up there. Stuart Leonard's car, which will be driven by Frederic Verviche, his first sprint outing of the season in Q2, with a bit of time to find, but an interesting first 20 minutes.
Yes, I mean, I think it reflected really the performance of the individual drivers and cars that we had expected. We hadn't seen, in fact, in practice 1 and practice 2, but as we've been saying throughout the broadcast today, it's the qualifying sessions that really count. And all the work that goes on is in preparation for these 2 20-minute sessions. Of course, race work is also a key to what those teams were doing. So they're trying, as you heard from Dries van Toor, different things on the car, explaining to Will Stevens which gear to use. I was going to say which gear to wear, which gear to use. I'm sure Will doesn't really need that, but actually what often you can do in a corner, for example, like Clearways, if you have got a good balance in your car, you can actually run a higher gear and let the car pull through rather than driving it through up near the limiter in 1 gear lower. Sometimes it's a nicer way of actually getting the performance from the car.
So everybody getting ready for Q2, which is about, 4 minutes or so away from starting. Time to take on some liquid, whether you're behind the wheel or behind the fence. There is the Stefan Ortelli, Norbert Siedler Lexus. And one of the stars of Q1 has been British driver Michael Meadows. Let's hear his take on Q1.
Michael, now you're currently P3. It's all going pretty well. Raffaello's a good driver, as we know. Do you think he can put this on pole for you?
I'd like to think so. No, I don't want to put any extra pressure on him, but we know he's fast. We know the car's going pretty well. So if he can put it on pole, that'll be mega, because it's obviously my home race. So I want to start from the front.
Don't worry, he can't hear you. Where would be a good place for you to qualify?
Well, I was 3rd, so he's got to better that really, or I get the bragging rights. So anywhere in the top 3 is good enough for me.
I love it. Good luck. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.
So Michael Meadows for ASP, job done. Now over to Raffaele Marciello, who of course had this great reputation in single-seaters, but he's developing into a fine GT racer and multiple race winner. Christian Klein's work for the moment is done, so he now hands over his Lexus to the Spanish driver Albert Bilbao Costa, and they're looking down the pit lane. Everybody getting ready. They're not ready yet, but they're getting ready to go. Fast lane is open, so if you want to dispatch your car to the end of the pit lane and be first out, you can do. The chocolate's going to melt if he doesn't eat it quickly. And we are ready just about for this second 20 minutes. They're the Grasser Racing Team Lamborghinis in the background that have been exploring track limits quite a lot today.
Unexpected, because that's a pretty good package. We saw how effective it was throughout the 2017 season, but things move, and again, I've been mentioning this through the previous 2 broadcasts, the balance of performance is an ever-changing benefit, asset, whichever. So maybe that's having a bearing on the performance of the Lamborghinis here at Brands Hatch.
Well, let's try and get to the bottom of the Lamborghini story, because Christian Engelhardt has just been out on track and he's now with Dakota.
Christian, now last year at this point you were absolutely dominating it. Now you're currently P5. Now we know Mirko's very quick. Can he do this?
Oh, I think it's going to be tough. To be honest, I was quite happy with my qualifying. I think the team did a great job. The car is extremely good, like last year, same like last year. Everything feels great out there, but we're P5. So for me, it was difficult. Let's see what Mirko can do, but I think it's tough at the moment.
Has been adjusting to the new Pirelli tyre been an issue?
Not at all. I think we cope perfectly with the tyre from team side and driver side. I think we do everything well.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, there's something that's you can see bugging him.
There's an elephant in the room, isn't there?
There was briefly.
Yes.
And he doesn't want to say what that is, whether it is a technical issue or a balance issue or whatever. But there is something that clearly he didn't want to explain, doesn't want the opposition to be aware of, and they will try and address it when Mirko Bortolotti goes out. We know how quick Bortolotti is. I mean, Engelhardt is pretty quick as well, but Bortolotti's been the one who I think you would look to in the Lamborghini camp to be the guy who will give you the result, give you the time, a bit like Dries van Voor has elevated himself to do within the WRT Audi team.
So we are almost ready to go for the second 20-minute period. The cars are at the end of the pit lane. It's going to be Carlo Van Dam in the Ferrari, the sole Ferrari, as the lights go green, the flag is green, and the session is live. He'll be first out. There it is. Look, the very spectacularly painted, or wrapped, blue and yellow Singer Beer backed Ferrari. The Berenbachti family is Singer Beer, so that's why the colours are carried. And Carlo Van Dam, who's done much of his recent racing in Asia, delighted to be back in Europe. The BMW is looking a bit dog-eared. Andrew Watson, what's happened here?
Well, that looks like barrier damage, reversed into a barrier somewhere. Now we know that the car made contact with the barrier in the second of the practice sessions earlier today. Whether that is an additional rub, strange, it's so high up on the rear of the boot of the car, doesn't appear that the diffuser at the bottom of the rear is damaged. We need to get a closer view of that to get a better impression of what might have caused that scuffing around the rear.
Yeah, I can say it could be a legacy of the first session. I'm not aware that he did anything wrong in qualifying, so it does seem as though it's from the second free practice period. Now, cameras at the ready, everybody pouring out on track. Green flags all around the circuit on this outlap to remind people that the road is clear. And there is 1-1-4 then, Stefan Ortelli. And the pit lane gradually emptying. So we know that Audi can be quick around here, but we also have seen good pace out of the Emil Frey Lexus racing car. And Stefan Ortelli here behind the wheel of 1-1-4, taking it over from Norbert Siebler. Trying to get the pressures up, the temperatures up. And in the Aaron Taylor-Smith household, people being rather bashful. That was Aaron's dad in the background we saw a moment ago. Right, Carlo Van Dam offering up good sectors. We'll see what the lap times are going to be in a moment. Through there goes number 2 Audi then. So it is now Will Stevens at the wheel of the car that was quickest in Q1.
Well, what will almost be a certainty is that Carlo Van Dam in the Ferrari number 39 was quickest in that final sector on an out lap. That in itself has got not a huge amount of benefit, except that it means that in that last sector when he was starting then to go on to his next flying lap, he had optimised everything he could coming out of Clearways and Cloud Curve to get across the start-finish line as quickly as possible.
So riding on board with Will Stevens, behind is Aaron Taylor-Smith, former touring car race winner in the VTCC, and underneath the vehicle bridge then goes Will Stevens. So we're looking at personal best in the sectors, Raffaele Marciello an absolute best in sector 1, and straight away Mirko Bortolotti under investigation for a possible pit lane infringement.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if there is a punishment or whether it was hard to judge until we get further information.
But that's the last thing they need if any penalty comes when they're struggling for outright pace, if you believe the drivers. Marciello's going to go quickest, I think, at the end of this lap. You're looking at Will Stevens, who lifts and lets the Bentley go. But 88, Raffaele Marciello, there he is in the blue and white Mercedes. They're 2 absolute bests. Marcus Winkelhocker's just on a 24.5, but Raffaele Marciello here should go quickest of all as he comes across the timing line. The Mercedes booms past the pits and does a 23.783. Fantastic lap.
Absolutely outstanding. 0.2 of a second quicker than the Audi of Dries van Voor. There is the 63 Lamborghini Mirko Bortolotti behind the wheel, and This lap, obviously, clearly of no consequence. Now onto a flying lap. He has a personal best in the final sector, which will help him as he begins to go on to what will be his second flying lap.
Christopher Mies is second, so it's 6/10 between them. But that lap by Marciello, just stunning. Best lap of the weekend, a 23.7. Right from the start of the session, on it, clear track space. I mean, you couldn't have had that better.
Well, and Fred Vervisch now got second quickest, just 2/10 down on the quickest Mercedes. But one thing about Raffaele Marciello is he is an exciting talent. He makes the Mercedes look... Oh!
Caldarelli getting all giddy coming out of Sterling's. Andrea Caldarelli survives that, but that was one to get the heart rate up, wasn't it?
Well, not ideal. Not ideal when you've got a fresh set of rubber on. You don't want to waste it by running it wide over the curb. Goes 124.7, so that will put him into 6th position.
So there's Christopher Mies, who is pushing on. He's done an absolute best in Sector 1, a personal best in Sector 2. Third is the number 1 Audi. This is the car that Alex Riberas shares. So he's in Q1. Christopher Mies, multiple GT champion and significant race winner, coming now out of Clark Curve up towards the timing line. Marciello's 23.783 to beat. 22.23.791 goes second. He misses out by 8 thousandths of a second.
Well, I thought maybe the 88 Mercedes would sit back in the garage and wait and see if anybody could challenge that time, and the belief that probably they were just out of reach of everybody. But Christopher Mies has gone and proven that only 8 thousandths of a second. I mean, it's what, 3 feet, 2 feet?
Like that, yeah. So Pierre Caffer across the timing line next. 10th he was, and where does he move up to? 4th fastest, 124.519. Here is Franck Pereira, who ought to be able to bring the Grata Lamborghini up into the mix. 4th, just gone Felix Serrales. Right, Franck Pereira, new to Lamborghinis this season. The boss watches on, as does Christian Engelhardt behind him. To the timing line comes Franck Pereira. Is this going to be an improvement for him? 10th he was at the start of the lap. Yes, he goes 4th quickest. Franck Pereira, 124.267. So you've got Mercedes, Audi, Lamborghini, Mercedes, Audi, the top 6.
Well, here's the car that really Grasser Racing looked to be the one that was going to deliver. Mirko Bortolotti runs right out to the very edge, coming out of Sheen Curve. Personal best. And really aggressive exit out of Sterling's. You can see the car bottomed out on the skid blocks as it came back onto the circuit.
Through Clark Curve now comes Mirko Bortolotti. So we've not really yet seen the best out of him in this session. He was 15th at the start of this lap, and as he goes across the line now, he goes up to 9th fastest on a 124.463. Here is Frederic Vervisch. Underrated but very quick Belgian driver, coming now down through Sterling's. This is where people have been riding the curb and the cars get all unsettled. It's a high climb up to the curb, but Vervisch gets away with that. Third he is now. 2 personal best. Looking good this lap. He has got to find over 2/10 of a second, really, to get himself up on a pole position. Can he string it together with 3 good personal sectors? The answer as he breaks the beam is no. He stays third. He got the absolute best, as you can see, in Sector 3, a 123.820, meaning that the top 3 are covered by 37 thousandths of a second.
And if he's got enough grip left in these Pirelli tires, he could go on, because he was so good through that final sector. Back on board with Mirko Bortolotti. Coming down into Dingledell, up the hill into Sheen Curve. And then it was the corner following that. We were so aggressive on the exit, really bullied the car out of the corner, staying, and again hits it. Maybe not quite as severely as on the previous lap, but this is an indication of just how much effort the Italian driver is putting into this potential. He wants to get this car from the second row of the grid if possible. Christopher Hassel has just gone second quickest. Bortolotti 5th overall.
The Zolder winner, Kelvin van der Linde, has not yet, as far as I can see, been out on track. Now, is this a good plan by Attempto to save tyres? This is Vervisch, absolute best, personal best, but we'll keep an eye to the Attempto Zolder winning car, not yet having been out there. More dust kicked up by the Mercedes behind. Big hop from 17 Audi into Clark Curve. Fred Vervisch wringing the neck of this car now, heading up towards the line. He's got to get something better than a 23.7 if he can. 22.23.719 is pole position by 64 thousandths. Frederick Verviche goes top, and amazingly, he lost a bit of time in sector 3 compared to his earlier best.
Yes, I mean, it wasn't quite as good an exit out of clearways. He had to sort of, I think, check up on the throttle marginally. But overall, now 6400th of a second quicker than what I thought was the dominant time from Raffaele Marcello in the Mercedes. So it's Audi, Mercedes, Audi, Lamborghini, and then Lamborghini as well.
So can Marciello fight back now? Got half the session to go. Pit lane getting busier, so the track getting quieter, which gives you more space to play with. Marciello's done, as you can see, a green personal best, but he's widened 2 wheels. Mow the lawn coming out of Shinka, but even with that, an absolute best, and he's way up the curb. Crikey, Raffaele Marciello having the ride of his life.
Big commitment, carried so much speed into Sterling's, the back end of the car, rode the curb. I mean, he has got amazing car control, and he has just got that unbelievable sense of self-confidence.
Doesn't improve in the end, but not for the ones who are trying. He's proved he's brave, hasn't he? Raffaele Marciello with huge whatnots for bravery, goes over the timing line, and that was a 23.8, which actually almost everybody else would aspire to. But it was a 10th down on his own best.
You take that off, that was the time offered to you.
Yeah, absolutely right. So
Van Thor, his car
15th.
Yeah, 15th, really.
So
I don't know what gear he told Will Stevens to use, but it doesn't seem to have helped Will Stevens on this particular qualifying session.
No. Now, Michael Meadows, you were third, Raf's second, so bragging rights have gone to him. Michael was talking pre-session just about bragging rights, but look at this for bravery.
I mean, really committed back. He just floors the throttle to help tighten the exit, get the nose tucked back in again. Because the car is sliding so much through Sterling's, it gets the rear on that curb, and that's where you've got to be careful. Here he goes again, coming up to complete yet one more lap.
Oh no!
The same thing. His exit from Sheen is so different to anybody else, but quickest in that sector. Much better exit.
Indeed, just like last time, personal best, absolute best. Has he strung it all together enough? He's got to get to the third sector in under 20 seconds, really, and it's a good run through Clark. So the time to beat is a 23.719, and Marciello does a 23.569 for pole position by a 10th of a second. Fantastic, and a sigh of relief from Michael Meadows, the car starting at the front of the grid, but Raffaele Marciello, stunning session. I mean, he's dug deep and had to dig even deeper.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a controlled aggression. The previous run was just aggression, but once he knew what he needed to do in Sterling's. He didn't enter it quite so aggressively, didn't nail the throttle quite so hard so early, got the car straight, at which point then he could get on the throttle. Car came out of it, and that gave him the opportunity to make that run into the last corner into clearways and continue the good work, and there we are, 123.569, 0.150 quicker than Frederick Verviche in the number 17 Audi.
Now 8 minutes to go, and most people, not all, but most are in the pit lane. I can't believe they're going to call it a session, so a new set of tyres I think for most, and then we'll see what they can do. Carlo Van Dam has not given up because he's on track 14 fastest, third in Pro-Am. And still, as I say, number 66 has not been out, so the championship leading car not having done a time. So 7 minutes 50 seconds to go. Attempt to, now it goes out. So Kelvin van der Linde, having effectively missed the first run, the first half of the session. Is that just down to tyre saving, or do you think there's something more sinister?
Well, I think there could be simply just waiting until the closing moments of the session. Everybody, I mean, you can see nearly half the field is back in the pit lane. Others are making their way back in, and there's only going to be a small number of cars on the track when the two attempted cars go out to do their qualifying runs. And if that's what Thames would believe is the right strategy for their team, then let them go with it.
Indeed so. So they've had one car out there to get the data. Now there is Will Stevens, who is only 15th. And this is the car that was quickest in Q1. So a bit perplexing as to why Will can't replicate the time that Dries van Thor did.
And there may be a number of reasons, but let's see what he does. He's got personal best in the first two sectors, so this should see a significant step forward for the number 2 currently, as you mentioned, in 15th place, through clearways. And then cuts back for Clark Curve, comes across start finish line. It's not going to be a pole time, that is for sure. but it puts him up to 10th, 5th row of the grid.
Yeah, and then factor into this as well, Kelvin van der Linde as well, because, as I say, he's late out, but the ADAC GT champion and Sirocco R Cup champion getting on with life. This is number 14 you're looking at, which currently has Albert Costa behind the wheel of it. And this is a sort of Costa Express as he comes across the line, because that puts him up to 5th fastest, 1:24.109. That's a good lap.
I tell you what, that'll send shockwaves through the paddock.
Yes.
That the Lexus here at Brands Hatch, a handling circuit. It's not a power circuit like Monza, it's a handling circuit. That is a very, very strong time. And, well, let's wait and see what they can do, if they can translate that. Marcus Winkelhoff has just jumped up into 4th place, leading Pro-Am car. But that will send, well, relative shockwave.
Yeah, and this is another one that could jump. Felix Serrales in 87 Mercedes has done, as you can see, 2 personal bests. So Serrales is 9th. Will Stevens goes 10th, as John had mentioned, but this Mercedes goes 6th. So Serrales gets ahead of the Lexus. So yeah, it's one step forward and then a pace back, isn't it, from the Lexus? It's a good time, but others go quicker. This is Callum McLeod, former British Formula Ford champion, running up the curb coming out of Stirling's in Ian Loggie's Bentley. That Stuart Parker's team runs.
Yeah, the Bentley rides the curbs probably better than most other cars. Bearing in mind it's got a rally heritage from M Sport, so it can use the curb in a way maybe other cars would want to stay away from, particularly in Stirling's.
Over the timing line goes, yeah, the Bentley. There is 26, Marcus Winkelhoff, 4th fastest. And we've now got 3rd, Kelvin van der Linde. He has done 2 personal bests and an absolute. So 66, having won the main race at Zolder, Kelvin van der Linde goes 3rd quickest, having only had half the track time of everybody else. He's only done 3 laps, the 7 or 8 or 9 of the majority of other people. Winkelhoff through, and what does that do for him?
Consolidates.
Keeps him 5th, yeah. Christopher Hasser in the meantime, up to the line. And he's 6th quickest, but down in the middle sector, so I'm not sure there's going to be much of an improvement. Goes through.
So Bertolotti out again, fastest middle sector. Merkel, personal best, fastest overall second sector. This has got to be his last opportunity. 2nd quickest, front row of the grid.
So Bortolotti then 0.147 adrift of Raffaele Marciello. Down through Clark Curve comes 66. So Kelvin van der Linde 4th after Bortolotti's good lap. Heading up to the timing line, a 1:23.730 last time. Can he go quicker again? 23.757. So slightly slower.
I mean, 2 very, very good laps within hundredths of a second of one another from the South African driver. But Mirko Bortolotti is still out pushing personal best in Sector 1. Sector 2 has been the area where the Lamborghini has shown great strength. Wait to see what happens to Bortolotti when he goes through that. But he is 1/10 and a half away from matching that of Marciello and the Mercedes. Vervish.
Yeah, Frederic Vervish, absolute best in Sector 1, which is very encouraging. It's also good in this session, looking at the variety. Top 3, you've got Mercedes, Lamborghini and Audi. And just under 3 minutes of the session to go, as down through Graham Hill Bend comes the Audi in question. There you've got Vervish. You can see how bumpy it is at Westfield. The car just skipping all over the road.
Yeah, it's a very uncomfortable corner, just which the car is constantly having vertical travel, quite a lot of it. So waiting to see what will happen in the second sector. He would have lost time getting through. Personal best, nevertheless. Slides the back of the Audi, but keeps pointing in a straight line, keeps the car in control. So this could be a lap that might put him back up onto the front row of the grid. It certainly could challenge where he is from the second row of the grid right now on a 1:23.7.
Over the line goes Vervish, and let's see what the time is. It's quickest, a 1:23.460. He's a 10th ahead of Marciello, who is under investigation, Raffaele Marciello, for an alleged pit stop infringement. So Marciello is being investigated, and so is Carlo Van Dam. More news as we get it, but the story of Q1 and Q2, in fact, with these investigations, may not end with a checkered flag, might it? The stewards are going to be busy at the end of the sessions. As down towards Clark Curve comes number 25 then, so Christopher Hasser hugely experienced, very successful Audi campaigner, former Blancpain Endurance Series champion as it was in those days, give its name of the day. Over the line goes Hasse, stays 6th. Here in 114 is Stefano Ortelli. Now this Lexus is quite a long way down, only 16th.
Well, the Lexus has delivered certainly very impressively, 124.5, and that's pretty good for Stefano Ortelli.
His earlier best lap deleted for track limit abuse, and a warning comes up, must respect track limits at turn 3. Now, turn 3 is Graham Hill Bend, in other words, the next corner that he's coming to at the bottom of the hill. Let's see what he does this time. So Ortelli has lost his best lap for track limit abuse, and we move to the Aaron Taylor-Smith Bentley that's in 19th in the times at the moment.
Well, Christopher Mies on the personal best, currently 4th quickest. That's sector 1. Ortelli, personal best, sector 1, but 2.5 tenths down on the number 1 Audi. So it's an improvement for Ortelli, but slower than the 4th place, presently 4th place Christopher Mies.
So number 1, Christopher Mies, personal best in the first sector and improved last time to get up to 4th. Aaron Taylor-Smith has gone quicker incidentally, 18th he is now of 20, so ahead of Alex Morais and also Alexander Kornev in the Mercedes. So here's number 1, this is Mies, down in the second sector by 2 tenths. And it's so competitive, we're talking thousands here, you can't really give away 2 tenths of a second, so Mies has got to be a real hero in the last sector. Comes up now towards the timing line. Is this going to be an improvement? The flag just escapes, and as it goes through, stays 3rd. Yeah, the lap time was better, 1:23.638. And in this session, the leading 15, all within a second of each other.
More like it.
Absolutely,
that's more like
yes.
it. What we saw this morning did not give us a true indication. Now, when people are run on new tyres, the truth of everybody's individual performance is there to be seen.
Absolutely right. It's 82 Bales. That's from Pereira, 8th fastest. So Audi looking pretty strong now, and Frederic Verviche in the Stuart Leonard car up to the top of the times. Christopher Mies, the last significant improver. Aaron Taylor-Smith improved on his last lap as well, 1:25.045. All go. Second session particularly, times changing all the time.
Yeah, that was a tense session. Everybody in the pit lane, no one really knew the time. I mean, take the Mercedes time, which looked like a dominant time. Stuart Leonard, Riley looks back and wonders, well, what might have been. So, tough when your driver, your teammate, Fred Verviche goes so quick. Well, you know, yeah, but he's the pro in the car. But great, Andries van Thor very sportingly comes along, congratulates Stuart Leonard. Stuart didn't do anything in this session, he just was there to support Fred Verviche. But anyway, that's the bonhomie that you have within the WRT group, and good to see.
So Frederic Verviche fastest by 0.109 of a second over Raffaele Marciello, and then 3rd quickest Christopher Mies from Mirko Bortolotti. We'll go through the full times in a moment. We might hear from Fred Verviche as well, but a very lively session, that is for sure. So it is Frederic Verviche who is the quickest at the end of Q2 by 0.109 of a second from Raffaele Marciello. Christopher Mies comes next ahead of Mirko Bortolotti. Kelvin van der Linde missed most of the session but went 5th from Christopher Hassler and Marcus Winkelhock, with Franck Pereira 8th from Felix Morales 9th, Albert Costa, Pierre Capper and Stefan Ortelli rounding out the top dozen. Ortelli getting up there right at the very end, really on his last proper lap. 13th for number 19, Andrea Caldarelli. And 14th, number 2, Will Stevens. The car just never came alive in that session. Carlo Van Dam 15th ahead of the Bentley. Callum McLeod clear of Jack Manchester, and then Aaron Taylor-Smith. Lucas Moraes, BMW 19th. And Alexander Kornev, treating Browns with a lot of care, is 20th after his big accident in FP1. So there is Raffaele Marciello's Mercedes under investigation for an alleged pit stop infringement. So it may well be that the story rumbles on into the night and things change, but all that will be confirmed on the Blancpain Series website. We better hear from the pole man though, hadn't we? Frederic Verviche, quickest and with Dakota.
Fred, absolutely fantastic job. Not so bad for a superstar.
Yeah, no, I'm really delighted. It's I think it's my first pole in sprint since I started in the sprint series a couple of years ago. I'm really excited. I didn't expect it, honestly, but Audi is very strong here, and yeah, we delivered. So now I hope we can finish where we will start. out for the race too. So
Good luck for tomorrow. Thank you.
thank you.
A job well done by Fred Verviche. He's not done many miles around Brands Hatch, so excellent for that.
A driver who sometimes, in the galaxy of stars that WRT Audi have got, can be overlooked. But that was a very, very impressive run, and he got it right. That last sector was very impressive, and that's, you know, you've got to get all your apex, you've got to make all your braking spots. Everything is going to be perfect, and that's what Fred Verviche did, and that's the reason he was able to claim his very delighted pole position.
So now he's got to translate that in his stint into a race lead to give to Stuart Leonard. But round Brands Hatch is going to be tough, and we look forward to 2 excellent races tomorrow. And although we didn't have Porsches in that session, we have them coming to the track now, and the fans enjoying their ice cream and enjoying the weather. And at the end of qualifying, let's have a look at the highlights then of Q2 here at Brands Hatch. Everybody enjoying the sunshine, everybody enjoying the weather, and the team's ready to go for this 20 minutes race 2, or Q2 rather, decider. We had the Mercedes of ASP doing the initial running with Raffaele Marciello right from the word go, putting himself up to the top of the times, and it looked as though that was going to be the lap to beat. Well, it was battered, others fought back, and then again Marciello had to press on. Andrea Caldarelli was charging and got oh so crossed up coming out of Stirling's, and Frederic Verviche yo-yoed his way up and down the order. Sometimes he'd be at the top, then he'd drop down, then he'd fight back, then he'd drop down. He was the one that mattered though, because he was at the very top of the times when the checkered flag came out, despite this session-long battle with Raffaele Marciello, and he threw everything at it as he battled his way out of Stirling's. He did go top, but then was out-dragged late in the session by the Audis, but the Mercedes looking very quick indeed. And Marciello and Michael Meadows then start as some favourites for tomorrow, but there are so many competitive crews against them, life is not going to be easy. So, an excellent session, and we look forward to 2 great races at Brands Hatch tomorrow. Thanks for your company today from John Watson and David Addison. Bye for now.